Altgilbers, and I want to welcome you to our mentoring call that we're doing today, which is June 29th. And I want to welcome all of you from different parts of the world, whether you're in Australia or if you're listening to this in Europe. Some of you will listen to this on YouTube because after we do the call, we will upload the call to YouTube. And then that way others can hear it who are in different time zones. Some of them are already going to sleep now. It's late in some parts of the world. So for those of you in different countries like even India, you'll be able to listen to this via YouTube. So I'm so glad that we're able to come together and talk about things and about what's going on. There's a lot going on, always a lot going on. One announcement I want to make, as far as like India, we've had some product label changes. They've got always new laws. It's crazy there, and so we had to pull Transfer Factor Plus off the market temporarily. That's going to be back on about the second week of July. That's what I was told today from the assistant manager there, Shub. So we look forward to getting that product back. And as I mentioned before to some of the leaders in India, we have to keep one thing in mind. What makes us successful is transfer factor. And when I started with For Life Research, it was the classic that I built my business. In fact, I didn't want to hear about any other products because we were doing so well with just that one. And the testimonies were awesome. So never underestimate the value of that product or even Trifactor for that matter. But I've always been, I guess, when someone asks me what's your favorite product, I always say the classic because that's how I started my business. And I still take it today, along with all the other products too. But for those of you that are just joining maybe for the first time, again, my name is Jeff Altgilbers. I'm a Platinum International Diamond with For Life Research. I've been with the company now 17 years. I lose track of time. And the things that we like to share on these calls is more nuts and bolts of how we do a business today, how we build a network marketing today. Not so much, trying to convince people to join For Life. That's not the purpose of this call. Hopefully, you've been able to do that on your own. And in fact, we can give you, clear directions through our online system how to do that. And great information that you can get, resources, just getting, logging into our system, going into your back office, reading the ebook. And that's really sort of what I had in mind tonight. Was I was going to talk about duplication, but for those of you that are also new, before I do that, I want to talk about why we do this business the way we do it. And I mentioned it in the past that if you asked me, back when I joined network marketing, or we called it multi-level marketing back in 1978, I would have given you a total different answer because that was the answer I was given when I joined back in 1978. When I asked, how do you do this business, it was all about selling product. Well, in the 1980s, when I asked the same question, how do you do network marketing, it was all about presentations and teaching people how to build an organization. At the same time, there was an increase movement that had to do with technology that affected how we did network marketing. It was interesting because as technology changed, we had to change. And it actually, every time that happened, it made our business simpler and easier. And we could duplicate faster. When we didn't have it, it was very slow because it was all about getting out and meeting people and making product deliveries back in the late 1970s. But again, as technology improved and on into the 90s, we started having these cell phones that look like walkie-talkies. It was great because I didn't have to go home to make phone calls or to go to a payphone booth. A lot changed. And when the World Wide Web finally came on, we didn't have to mail out packages anymore. Some of you may not know what that was like. I can remember mailing out packages that weighed pounds, It cost me at least $5 in between materials and postage just to mail a package out to somebody to prospect them. And that doesn't include if I included a CD back then. Later we went to CDs. Everything was evolving so fast. But now, when we look at this business today, and we have the World Wide Web, we have an online system, you have Skype, you can talk to people internationally for free. You can do video chat. We have so much at our fingertips now, and most of it is free today. It makes this business so much more powerful, so much more easier for you. So I want you to understand one thing. You got a whole lot better now than I had it 20 years ago. A whole lot better. But that doesn't mean it's any easier. I mean in the sense of it does come down to one thing, and that is knowing how to build and being willing to give a commitment to this business. That is, you have to commit, totally commit to it. And you have to come to basically to a reality that this is something that you want to do. It's in your heart. You're passionate about this. I think when I look at the people that have not been successful in this business compared to the people who have, some simply reached a point of what we call threshold. Threshold, when you get to a point of your life and you're sick and tired, said, no, I'm done. I'm going to do this business. Some people might have signed up in For Life 4 years ago, but they never reached threshold, so they never performed. Because they were never in those circumstances where they were under the pressure where they had to. They might have believed in these false realities that there's security in the job market. There is none. Look at what a mess. What a mess that country's in because of believing in false realities. Hopefully enough people were smart enough to plan their life out better and then find another country to live in, I hope. Well, hopefully that's not going to be your circumstances. But there comes a time that we have to reach threshold and we say, you know what, I'm going to do this no matter what. And that was my case too. Because when I got started in this, I was deadly serious. I said, this is not a hobby for me. I'm very serious about this. And when you're serious about this business, people will take you seriously. When you look like a professional, they're going to take you seriously. Some people say, well, I've tried this so many, in the past and it hasn't worked for me. And, okay, how did you do it? Or if you've been doing it now, you've joined For Life, and you went out and prospected people, and you said, well, I just didn't get the results. Okay. Don't despair. There's a reason for it. And the reason is sometimes the way we're selling this is not the way they want to be sold. It's not that they don't want to join you. They may not want to do what you do. And when it comes to duplication, that's what we're asking. Keep in mind, when you prospect somebody, you're already training them. You're already training them. You're saying to them, basically, this is how I want you to do this. And they may not like it. So then what do we have to do? We have to learn how to do this business today the way network marketing has to be done. Not the way we did it 10, 20 years ago. So many of us or so many leaders, I should say, are out there still handing out brochures, still trying to get people to come to meetings and wondering why the chairs are empty and why the room's not filled. Now, if you're doing meetings and it's working for you, that's fine. But that's not what I'm hearing from so many people. It's very difficult for people to get out to meetings. They have time issues. They have family issues. They have job responsibilities. There's so much that eats at people's time. We just don't have the same amount of time that we did 20 years ago. We didn't have everything coming at us like we do 20 years ago, like we do today. So keep in mind that people want to be sold, but they're busy. And my message to those people is this business is for busy people. I'm so glad, I understand you're busy. Wow. Do you realize that we created a system for people like you? And while you're doing other things, it's so easy for you to spend such a little time, and you don't have to leave your driveway to be able to use our system and make serious money. Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember back when I got started, I mentioned we grow our businesses faster. When I joined, when I first got started in January 1999, we had an 800 line with Dr. Rob Robertson. He had the transfer factor message, and all I did was teach the leaders, give out the hotline, let them listen to it, put them in. That's it. You can three-way call it. That's fine. Get them on the phone, call the hotline. After that, ask them 2 questions. How do you see yourself? Using the product, or can you use extra money? Well, most of them all said they can use extra money. We put in over 800 people in 90 days. That was my first 3 months. I have got my International Diamond trophy in my office, March of 1999, and it was amazing how fast we back then, how fast we grew, because we kept it simple. And that's the key thing here, is that the principles never change, just the tools do. Just the tools do when we do this business. And the principle of simplicity, the principle of such a simple message. And then when we see people today, and if I'm out and about, or if I go to the gym and I meet people, I can show them the Pro TF product. We've got a great brochure that goes with that. It's like a Healthier for Life information that we can give them. But at any rate, it's so easy to share products. Even this summer, I was thinking the best summer products are like Energy, Ria Vita, and of course, along with the Pro TF, we got the protein bars, and then we've also got Renuvo that goes so well with it. But there's so many different ways to sharing the product when we are around people, and it's fine to do that. But what we have to keep in mind is when it comes to this business, I'm in the business of not selling products. I'm in the business of selling the business. Look at it this way. It's a whole lot easier and more profitable to sell a franchise than it is a cheeseburger. That's right. If I sell a burger, make a little bit of money, not much, right? Sell a McDonald's franchise, boy, I've made a lot of money. I'll sell the franchise. Don't sell the burger. Every person that I know that owns a franchise today uses and eats their own product. That's right. So when it comes to this opportunity, what I want to show people is how we do it today. It is a business for busy people. Our system that we have is online. And there's a lot of reasons why we do that today. If you observe human behavior, what do you see people doing? They're always, if they're at the mall, if they're at a restaurant, what are they doing? You see whole families together at a table. I observed one yesterday when I got out of my car, looked at it over in another car, saw a family in a car and just sitting there parked. All of them were looking at their own smartphones. And that's what people connect to today. And as a professional network marketer, you need to understand this. That's where you got to connect to. And that is your presentation's got to be able to reach a smartphone. The information and the training that you give a prospective leader has got to go to their smartphone or their iPad or their computer, because that's where people connect. Years ago, remember, we used to give out these VHS. Then later it became DVDs. And back then you could get people to put it in and look at it from their TV set. Today they never do that. How fast it's changed. And again, thank God, it's better this way. It's so much easier this way. So when I talk to a person about this business, and when we talk, it has to be this way. We have to be able to have an online system that has to be multilingual. Our system is in English, Spanish, Portuguese for Brazil, Tagalog for the Filipinos, Korean, and very soon the webmaster, I'm hoping in the next week or so, we'll have our Chinese Mandarins. That's going to be powerful. But when we think about it then, just about anywhere you go in the world now, people can speak those languages, or at least a few of those languages. The thing is now you can prospect somebody, contact somebody, enroll them in your system, because everybody enrolls their own leaders, choose whatever language they want to read it and learn it and use it, whatever language that is, to the languages I mentioned. That's so important to that leader, because you think about it, you enroll them in For Life and you enroll them in the system. You've equipped them for success. Now they can go into their back office, read the ebook, and immediately start learning how we do. Now I want to cover a couple of points of what the system is. When people join us, we have our own replicated websites. And what those websites do, most important, it's not just a plain old website. You upload your photo, you upload your bio, just like you do on Facebook. When people go to your home page, it acts as a lead capture page. We use it as a hook. So that way you can get out on the web, go anywhere you want, leave your URL anywhere you want. It acts like a fish hook. And then when people go to your home page, then immediately they start seeing a video that's only a couple minutes long about lifestyle. If they like what they see, as it says in the video, they leave their name, their email address, and phone number in a form there, and then they go right to the 10-minute presentation. We don't have long, drawn-out presentations, because that 10 minutes is about all you're going to get from anybody. But it gets right to the point, and it's animated, does a great job. So your home page acts, and that's so important when you want to do social networking today. We used to call it cold marketing years ago. And I built huge business. I built big downlines using cold market. And I would advertise in newspapers, and we would send out postcards. You've got your URL, and you can go anywhere you want, Facebook, wherever, and you can start posting things and putting your URL. And then while you're shopping or you're on the golf course or whatever you're doing, then when people go to your site, that system will notify you and let you know this person filled out this form and is watching your presentation. Then you can contact them. So that's part of the system. Part of that, what's in that website, talks about there's other choices on the menu bar if you want to know more about the product, the company, the compensation plan. And there's also About Me, where when they click on that, they see your photo and maybe a bio about you. You can also embed a video where you're explaining things about why you're so excited about this opportunity. It's so important to sell you. So then that's one part of the system. The other part is, of course, what we're doing right now, these calls, right? But here's the other part. You can log in, go into your back office. Your back office is your command control center. And that's where you have your stuff. Your stuff is like your 10-minute prospecting video. When people join us, what I want them to do, and again, this is part of the old traditional way we do MLM, it's very important to fill out a contact list of people that you want to reach, a prospect list, and then spend time financial freedom in the back that has the 10 steps of duplication. Then you understand how to do this business. And then once that person knows, it doesn't take long to read the book, it's not a long book, then we want them to go into action. That's part of duplication, isn't it? We're duplicating all the same things, everything. As a matter of fact, above the book, there is sign up a new member. It's a button you push. You push that button, then a form appears, and it's just a few questions of what you would fill in, basically their name and their email address, and that's how you sign up people you enroll. See, that's proper duplication, because now everybody is reading the same material, doing the same things. The biggest fear I always had through the years is, beyond my third and fourth level, what's really happening in my team? You never know. You never know. You never know if they're being properly sponsored. In most cases, they're not. They're just, when you have a system, you don't have to have that fear. Because once they're enrolled, once they go in their back office, they read that ebook, they know what to do. So back to that 10-minute prospecting video, then, there's a URL below that video. They copy and paste that either into a message or an email. So maybe a mother of that, a woman that has children, she has a lot of home responsibilities. It's awesome because it allows her to be able to keep those responsibilities, where in the past she'd have to leave the driveway, go out to meetings, or go out and do presentations. It was crazy. But now she can take care of the children, take care of her husband, and then kiss them all and say, hey, I'm going down the hallway into my room. I need to be left alone for 1 hour, okay? That's my business time, and then I'll be back out. And then every night she can dedicate just a little time. But you know what? You can get a lot done in a week. That adds up. That adds up. And she can start calling her girlfriend, saying, hey, I got something. I think it's something we both can do. Have a lot of fun, make a lot of money. I'm going to email you this link. Take a look at it. I'll call you back in 30 minutes. And when she calls them back, she's in front of the 4Life, in front of her computer at the 4Life website, and she's ready to put them in the business. We don't complicate this thing. When you have a system, you don't have to complicate it. When it comes to prospecting and sponsoring, remember this. It should never, ever be dependent on a meeting. That's crazy. I didn't do it back in 1999. We put in 800 people my first 90 days without doing one single meeting. Somebody might say, yeah, but how many stayed? What do you mean how many stayed? How many stay go to your meetings? They quit all the time. I guarantee you one thing, they're going to stay with you if you got a system. And the only reason why I see some people leaving certain leaders' organizations, and I hear this all the time, is simply because they don't want to do traditional MLM. They don't want to do that. They want to be a network marketing professional. And when you have a system, you look like a network marketing professional. But back to that back office, there's a Trifold brochure that you can order from Vistaprint, or if you're in a different country, you can have it printed there. A simple Trifold brochure. Ladies, when you go out, you can keep it in your purse, or guys, when you go to work, you can just stick it in your back pocket. That will explain the 3 trends today: network marketing, the wellness industry, social media, how it all together is combined into one trend. I cash in on it all using our system. We also have videos in the back from different conventions, training videos, as well as audio conference calls like we're doing now, and then also product calls that we also put in the back office. This is so important because if I'm sponsoring people or you're sponsoring people in Spanish countries, they now can select Spanish when they go to that back office. You want to build in China, 1,400,000,000 people? You better have a system. They'll laugh at you. That's the one thing I appreciate when I went to Taiwan a few years back. I remember that was the first question a Chinese leader would always ask. What is your system? They don't have any time for nonsense. It's one thing I love about Chinese. Time and money, to them it's the same. You want some of their time, you're asking for some of their money. And that's the way they feel about it. Time is very important to a Chinese person. So the thing is, when we think about countries like that, you have to have a system. And especially in a country like that where it's a communist government, they don't like gatherings, meetings. They don't like that. It's okay to do it in Hong Kong, where we'll have events there. We'll simply bring Chinese over to Hong Kong to our events. So the thing about it is, when you have a system like this, it's bilingual. That's powerful. That is so powerful. We're getting ready, and I forgot about that, for our friends in Norway. We're going to be uploading also our prospecting, our 10-minute prospecting video and teaser in the Norwegian language. I know they're excited about that. I am too. So then when we think about it, when we talk about duplication, duplication really involves all these things, all these areas, because it's so important that we have all the tools in place, not just for you, not just for me, but for everyone. That's how we duplicate. That's how we grow organizations, and also that's how you create retention. Retention's the opposite of losing people, and that's certainly, we don't want to lose a lot of people in our organization. We don't. Matter of fact, I'd say, just looking at my numbers, we have incredible retention in this business. People that stay with us, they believe in our product, they believe in the transferceutical science, and also our Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Chris Lockwood. What a great job he's doing and leading in that area. So people believe in this company and in our products. So the retention here is very high because we have a niche market. So when you look at how to build this business effectively, keep one thing in mind. You must enroll your people in the system. And if you haven't done that, go to the back and go to the back office and click on that button that says enroll a number, and you'll see that form come up, and then immediately start putting some of your enrolling your downline in it and getting them doing it, getting them involved in the system. People will just get enrolled and they don't upload their story. I've had some that would ask me questions, and I would say, have you read the ebook? No, I haven't done that yet. Well, you need to read the ebook. I mean, come on. The system is free. Maybe I should have made that person pay for it. We could have did that when we did this. We could have just charged an annual fee and then let people pay for it annually. If they don't use it, well, I made a lot of money from the system. I could have made a fortune. We chose not to do that. And the reason is, other than the fact I like to support my organization, but the other reason was, in our 10-minute prospecting video, it gave that leader who is prospecting that person the edge, because in the video it says that if you choose to join with the person who's showing you this presentation, you get this system worth thousands of dollars for free just for joining. So it gives that person a compelling reason to join with you. So that's part of the system. And that's what we have to keep in mind, that it's a tool, it's there to help you. And I want to see many of you becoming very successful in this business. But going back to what I said in the beginning, you have to get to a point of what we call threshold, where you realize how bad you really need this. And we really do. We really do. My goal when I came into For Life was, and this was, keep in mind, this was 1999. But my goal was $5,000 a month. I can remember that. 5,000. You know, I'm not bragging here, but I've got people in my organization who make $5,000 a day. $5,000 a day. I can tell you I make more than that. I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to impress upon you that when I came in this business, it was for $5,000 a month. Because that's all I needed to pay all my bills, keep the wolves away, and have a good life back in 1999. But I kept on dreaming, thinking. I wanted to become a world traveler. And when For Life opened this opportunity, started registering products around the world, I thought, you know, I've never been outside of the United States. I would love to see the world. Traveled to so many different countries. It was awesome meeting so many just interesting people, interesting cultures, and then building and working with people. And you know what? I didn't speak any of those languages. I didn't speak Korean. I didn't speak Tagalog in the Philippines. I didn't speak Chinese, even though I ended up marrying a Chinese woman. You know, I didn't need a translator for that, okay? I mean, she understood some basic English. Fortunately, I did have a man that translated for me in Chinese. As a matter of fact, I always had translators in other countries. And that's the thing that you have to realize here. Don't fear anything in this business. Don't think that you have to become something unique and different to be successful. I promise you, I was not that person. I wasn't. I just had a passion to want to succeed. And I had to succeed because the alternative was not looking very good. And I think, again, coming to threshold, we have to come to that point, say, I've got to do this. I'm not going to have any excuses. And I'm not going to say that I have to be something different than I am. You don't. You don't. You can always be you. But all you have to do is learn the basic skills. But it does come down to one thing. Hard work, spending some time with your, you know, you have to have an agenda. Spending time with that agenda. Every day knowing what you're going to do. Commit to it and refuse to get sidetracked. You'll always get sidetracked, okay? Turn off the negative news. All this stuff about Trump and all this bashing, all this negative stuff in the media, forget it. Don't even listen to it. Spend your time using self-development material, whoever your favorite authors are, that's fine. If it's John Maxwell, if it's Jim Rohn, if you haven't read the book Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, spend your time doing that versus all the negative news out there. The main thing is you've got to give yourself a positive vision and then understand that you have everything in you to be successful and then work hard at it. That's all I did. My background, if you look at me, when I got started, just prior to this, you know what I did? You know what my great profession was? Mopping floors. Yeah, I had a cleaning business. I'll go out late at night, working on a floor, stripping and waxing. And if you would have went down that aisle and said, hey, Jeff, you know what? One day you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars and be a world traveler. You know, I would think you were on drugs. But you know what? The one thing I got out of that was so important back then was a good work ethic. I worked just as hard in this as I did in that. Hard work pays off. And when you have a system and when you have a great company like For Life, you can be successful. So when we talk about duplication, we really talk about how important a system is. You've got to have a system, but most importantly, it's got to be the system for this century, for this decade. Now, a few years from now, I don't imagine we'll be doing a lot different. We might be adding on different bells and whistles. I hope so. I'd like to see it always improve. That's what I want. But in the meantime, I promise you this, you have everything that you need here now in this system. And once you enroll people in it and you teach your people to do the same, you're going to have positive duplication going on in your organization. The result's going to be volume, growth. You're going to see ranks changing. Your rank's going to change. That's what it's all about. But what's happened in the past, and I've seen this with other leaders, is they tried to take it's like taking a Ferrari and they're trying to put Ford motor parts in it. They want to take traditional MLM and combine it with how we do network marketing today, because they still haven't made the transition and they wonder why they're not growing. The reason why they're not growing is they're still trying to sell it the way people don't want to be sold today. We have a system for busy people, and that's the one thing the message I like to get across in affluent countries. The system is fun. It's exciting. The products that we have are fun, exciting. And when you have fun and exciting things, people will want to join you. I want to thank everyone for being on the call. It went over a few minutes more than I wanted it to, because I don't want to burn everybody up with information. So thank you for being on the call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the recording, and then we can all listen to the screaming kids. Hang on.